wishing you all Puducherrians a very happy Republic Day. It's the 69th Republic Day. What is a Republic Day? It is on this day, my friends, India as a country adopted its constitution, written and led by nobody other than the most illustrious son of India, Dr. Ambedkar. We adopted this constitution. It gave us one of the finest constitutions in the world. I've been a student of political science. I've read many constitutions. Indian constitution is unparalleled. It gives us a democratic rights. That's why India is the largest democracy in the world. And most of all, friends, it gave us our fundamental rights. Fundamental rights which give us so many rights, something so unique in the subcontinent and in the world. And that's what the world respects us for. India is respected for its constitution, its fundamental rights. Also, it gave us duties through directive principles of state policy, duties towards the state, duties by the state, duties of the citizens towards the state. So it gave us fundamental rights. It gave us directive principles. To me, as a student of former political science, this is the most important chapter of the Indian Constitution on this Republic Day to be remembered. Let me share you the highlights of the fundamental rights and the directive principles of the state policy. And part 2 of my sharing on this Republic Day would be what is ahead for the 70th Republic Day when we celebrate. What is it that we would like to look back to? So here's my part A, which is remembering fundamental rights and recalling directive principles of state policy. Key fundamental rights are right to equality. We're all equal before the law, rich or poor, powerful or weak, southern India or northern India, villager or urban, all equal before the law. Second, we have freedom of speech, expression, movement, anything. We are free. We are free citizens. Nobody can gag us. But we'll come back, freedom with what? Freedom with responsibility. That's our duty. I'll come back to it later. So we have freedom of movement. Third, we have freedom against exploitation. Nobody can exploit us just because we are ignorant or we are less literate or we are poor or we are backward. No way. Nobody can exploit us. We have a right to equality and protection against any exploitation. That's why we got fundamental human rights. We have freedom of religion. Puducherry is a symbol of harmony and unity. It's got Muslims, it's got Christians, it's got Hindus, it's got Jains, it's got Sikhs, it's got people of all faiths, all celebrating in their own way, temples, masjids, gurdwaras, churches, everywhere. And they've got freedom of religion. And we have right to constitutional remedies. We are entitled to certain justices. And we feel that if we are denied that, we can reach out to the courts, the High Court, the Madras High Court, the law courts of the districts. So Puducherry, we can reach out. We have even free legal aid if we can't afford. We have right to constitutional remedies. And the state is bound to follow the law. That means if the state is violative of the law, we as citizens have a right to a constitutional remedy. So it can be remedied. That's our fundamental right. Friends, I told you, every right comes with a responsibility. It's a side of the same coin. If you look at the coin, a coin has two sides. One side is the fundamental right. The other side is the duties. That's called directive principles of state policy, which the state is directed to fulfill. Let's look at some of the fundamental rights given in the same constitution, which we are respecting and remembering today. Most of all, dignity of women. Dignity of women. Nobody has a right to disrespect a woman, in any way assault a woman. She has a right, and it's a duty of the state to ensure dignity of women. Followed by dignity of women, it is respecting and improving the natural environment. It's a part of the directive principles of state policy, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion towards living creatures. How do we deal with our lakes, our rivers, our ponds, our wildlife, our forests? It's a fundamental duty of the state and all of us to respect that. Just as we got a right to freedom of speech, right to movement, right to religion, it's our duty. It's our bounden legal duty to protect our water bodies, our forests, our environment. It's a directive principle of state policy. To develop scientific temper, humanism and spirit of inquiry and reform in all that we do. This will be a lot in the realm of education. Third, safeguard public property and abjure violence. In some recent past, we had some bandh here, some law and order issue. And some of us damaged our buses. We damaged public property. Whose property are we just damaging? Our own. Our own. Would anybody damage one's own home? Why would somebody damage one's own public transport bus or one's own public office? It's our directive principle. It's our duty to safeguard. We have a right to agitation because we have a freedom of speech and expression. But it is our duty to see that public property is in nowhere violated and that we adopt violence. Then we have right towards excellence in all spheres, individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. Our Prime Minister has been talking about innovation, entrepreneurship, internship. This is what will lead to greater efficiency in all spheres of our life. Then it's our duty to be a good parent, a good guardian, to see that our children go to school. These are some of these. Let me give you some sections of law which you will remember. Let me address. Now, most important, Article 40. Article 40 says that the state, now since I'm a part of the state, states shall also work for organization of village panchayats. Section 40, village panchayats, and help enable them to function as units. Do we have them? Are you demanding it? Are you asking the state to fulfill its responsibility under its constitution? It's the duty of every citizen. It's your right and it's the duty that is laid down under section Article 40. And this has not been fulfilled in Puducherry for so many years. Friends, it's your right and it's the duty of the state to give you all and give us all our 90 plus villages in Puducherry, a village panchayat, which is called the local body. Second, it is Article 43. It says promotion of cottage industries in rural areas. If you don't have a village panchayat, who will coordinate? Just one public official as a commune commissioner is not enough. Commune commissioner with gram panchayats, with sarpanches, with the villages can promote cottage industries. And cottage industries would handicraft is today GST free, which means if we create more handicraft with more cottage industry is very wide, and there are mudra schemes, there are government schemes today, bank loans available for you to start your cottage industry. Self-help groups, which are being promoted in a big way by the rural development and by NABARD, can become homes of cottage industries. Every home can have an income. It's under 43 article. Then 43A talks about our health of cooperative societies. Puducherry is a place, a union territory full of cooperative societies. But as an administrator I've seen, it's had no elections for several years. You do not have your own elected MDs. These are run by registrars. This is not their job. It's not the job of the registrars to be MDs and chairmen of the cooperative societies. No, they are actually auditors of the functioning of cooperative societies. It's a directive to the state to ensure good health of the cooperative societies. But it's you as people who are members of the cooperative societies to assert your right and perform your duty to see that the cooperative societies are in good health. Let's go to another article, Article 45. Article 45 and 44 promote free and compulsory education to all children till they attain the age of 14, Article 45. I've seen enrollment in Puducherry is very high. Children have gone to school. They are in government schools, they are in private schools, they are in public schools, they are in good schools. Their teachers selected carefully. Government of the biggest department of Puducherry is the education department. It also has the highest budget. It's also got the biggest challenge. But what do I see? What do I see? Very not much involvement of the parents in educating their children. They've left it to the school. Whatever the school does, it's okay. What does this child do after the school? What does the child do during summer vacation? What does the child do when he comes back home? Mother and father, if not available or are not interested in education, the child's education is very limited to that right of education, which is up to Article 45. But now, with the change in the systems, as I see Government of India policies changing, where examination may be compulsory at the class 5 and class 8. So be prepared to see that your children are ready for early exam, which had been taken away, which would mean an amendment in the Right to Education Act by the Parliament. And once it is, our children will have to take examination at the standard 5, at the standard 8, and if they don't pass, they will be not dropped out, but given a chance to improve. Very important directive principle of state policy to be remembered on this Republic Day, which is Article 47. It says prohibiting intoxicating drinks and drugs injurious to health. Pondicherry does not have prohibition. It has no policy for prohibition. But have we promoted the evils of intoxicants? With sadness, I would say, when I visited the schools, most of the schools, when I did a survey from the school boys and girls, half of the parents, when I asked them about the status of their income and the father, they had low income. But even in their low income, half of their fathers were alcohol addicts. They were consuming intoxicants. While the government of Puducherry, the Department of Education, is providing free education, free books, free uniforms, midday meal, but the father is only drinking away. And it is violating its own duty as a guardian. But even as a state, it's not fulfilling its duty enough to promote evils of intoxicants. Why? Because we don't have a prohibition policy. And Puducherry is a lot dependent on the income from alcohol. I think it's time it must phase out its dependence on intoxicants, on selling of liquor and liquor shops. Then Article 48. Article 48 talks about agriculture, animal husbandry, and modern scientific lines. This is very, very important. It's a duty of the state to promote agriculture, not only to exempt loans, not only to write off loans, but to make sure that the loans which are given to the agriculturalists are properly used. The water which is being provided for is properly used. So I thought I must remind you, and most of all, Article 51. Article 51 is to promote peace and security. It's a duty of the state to promote peace and security. I told you, as part one, we will all collectively recall our rights and the duties of the state and laid down in the directive principles of state policy. Now, part two of mine is, while it's my duty as an administrator of Puducherry to let you know what were our achievements during the year, my saying will not establish it. How you feel about it is what is important. My saying we did this in 7,000 crores and this is the way we spent, it's of not value till your people realize that yes, it's been worthwhile, it's been good. Because whatever you gave us as 7,000 or 8,000 crores combined by our own generation of taxes in Puducherry and given to us as grants from Government of India or as aid, what did we do with it? It was our duty to. So I am here listing out what is it that we could do better and more for the coming 70th Republic Day. Here is one. I think we are cleaner than before. Swachhta Corporation has done an excellent job. Municipal corporations, the PWD workers have done a good job. They must do a better job. We can be cleaner. Our tourists who are visiting us are saying Puducherry is clean. But Puducherry is the cleanest, is something which we must hear by the 70th year of Republic Day. Puducherry is the cleanest. It will become clean. It can become cleaner. And where it can be still cleaner, and the smart city will be unfolding its proposals, very well supported again by Government of Puducherry and the Government of India, is the villages. I don't think we've addressed the cleanliness in the villages, yes. And the cleanliness in the village starts with every home. Stop using plastics. Stop throwing plastics in the drains. Stop clogging the drains. Use the same horticulture waste to make a manure and make it into manure, even human excreta, to be sent back. What about toilets? Why are we waiting only for somebody to give us money to build a toilet? We can create our own toilet. I've seen in a village called Shrishti, a few kilometers from now, they created their own. They didn't wait for 20,000 rupees to be given as a grant. They created by a tin sheets. And they created 2 drums. And the liquid waste of human liquid waste and human excreta goes into 2 drums. They put powder on it, sand powder or the sawdust on it, and they let it be, and it becomes very good manure for the agriculture. Look, they did not wait for 20,000 rupees. They decided that they will not go toilet in the open field. They'll not go into the rivers. They'll not go into the nearby ponds. They'll not go into the fields by which fleas and disease spreads. They created by their own determination because they wanted it to be clean. We are clean. We are cleaner than last year. But we have to be cleaner. Our villages have to play a better role, and our toilets have to be more. Secondly, children go to school. Going to school is not enough. Are they learning values? Are they learning punctuality, discipline, hard work, writing, language, general knowledge, and their speaking communication skills? Career counseling, very important. The children should know what is the skill they can learn and what can they be. Third, agriculture. We've done well in agriculture. We got better water. We got better table. But have we gone organic? Not enough. Let the year ahead be full of organic revolution. Today you have a new secretary in Mr. Anbarsu. You have a very good agriculture minister in Mr. Kamlakanan. They are very determined to take us towards organic culture. Let's make this into a revolution. And Puducherry has rich land. It's got a lot of people who can work on agriculture. And it's got better water. Our tanks are full. Almost out of 84 tanks, 1/3 are full today, and others are still better because of the good rains we had and the desilting done by the PWD, by the tank associations, by NABARD help. It's much better. So agriculture. Fourth, we feed the poor. It's the duty of the government to feed the poor. But why should rich be fed? Why should free rice also go to the rich, to the class A and B service officers? Why should the funds, limited funds, are meant for those who truly need it? Others should surrender their rice, free rice, should not accept it. A, B officers, people who are paying taxes with the GSTs, why should they be taking free rice? Free rice and free essentials are meant for the real poor. And even the real poor at some stage have to become rich, because we have to give them skill so that they can make their own rice and they don't keep depending on the free rice. That's our year ahead. Our tanks, our tank rehabilitation. All our 84 tanks in the villages, are they community owned? There are rules and regulations. Community must take ownership for keeping the tanks safe, the water not to be wasted, water not be stolen. Have we done more community participation? I do believe that our secretary has very good plans. Secretary Mr. Anbarsu and Mr. Kamlakanan have excellent plans, and the PWD minister, Mr. Namashwan, have excellent plans now to make our tanks community owned. Let us see how the year unfolds. Friends, we raise taxes. You buy, you spend, you contribute towards GST. We collect our money as taxes. But are we ensuring that your money which we earned, has been properly spent? Hard-earned money with no corruption, no diversion, and that it's correctly spent, not wasted? Are roads constructed for a longer period of contract, and not that road gets washed away, money goes away? No. It is our duty. It's our right to have a good road, but it's our duty as a contractor, as a citizen, to see that the road money is correctly spent. It's our duty as a public servant also to use the money as trusteeship As Mahatma Gandhi said, public money is your trust. You have to spend it as if it's going out of your own pocket, Then our employers, it's our right to be employed, but it's our duty to self-train. Are we training ourselves all the time, or are we only waiting for a training center to happen? And we've not had a proper training center the whole of last year. This year, our Chief Secretary, Mr. Ashwini Kumar, has decided to set up a training center for all our public servants, and that will take our public servants towards better accountability. I'm very happy to know that the training center will very soon this year happen. Most of all, you want change in these 90-plus villages, and Puducherry can be the best. It can be the richest. Today, friends, is also the Voters' Day. Country is celebrating Voters' Day. Is the vote right only to go and put your vote? Or is it his duty? Is it a right, or is it a responsibility to see that the person I am voting for has no criminal background, has no dishonesty, has served people well in thick and thin, has been accessible to the people, has been observing good conduct, has had good friends, has had good behavior, has been civil, has been honest in his dealing. Your right to vote is only for that person who fulfills your aspirations. And therefore, it's a Voters' Day today. It's being celebrated all over the country as Right to Vote and Voters' Day. So as a voter, you have a right and a responsibility. I've said enough. I've said more than I normally do. But I wish you once again a very prosperous and a very happy and a very healthy 70th year ahead of Republic Day. A year which is dengue-free. A year which will no more see dengue deaths, which we saw this year. Which is cleaner, which is prosperous, which is honest, which is rural prosperity oriented, which is community involved, which is children full of counseling and skills, which people, the seniors have good health, and they all enjoy the rich culture and heritage and environment of Puducherry, the most beautiful part of India. Thank you, and Jai Hind.